Let's start here, shall we? After 6 straight weeks of testimony and evidence related to paid sex and brutal violence, evidence of drugs on demand and extortion and bribery and coercion, it is hard to imagine a line in the Diddy trial that has not been crossed and double-crossed. And yet tonight, we got a winner. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. We have a new one. More than a decade after taking part in what he thought was a private gig as an escort paid to perform during a Diddy freak-off, an exotic dancer known as the Punisher suspects that he was secretly videotaped while having sex with Diddy and Cassie during a freak-off. His real name is Sharay Hayes, and he believes that his performance with Diddy's girlfriend Cassie was videotaped by Diddy and then shown in federal court. Both of those instances without his knowledge, and both of those instances without his permission. On Monday, jurors in Diddy's sex trafficking and racketeering trial watched a bunch of videos, and one in particular was dated October 14th, 2012. And lo and behold, that was the same date that Mr. Hayes testified he was paid $800 to have sex with Cassie Ventura at a New York hotel, while Diddy was over there sitting by in the shadows and masturbating. Looks like he may have been doing something else too, pressing play. Prosecutors did not name Sharay Hayes in court, but the timeline matches. Even though, quote, the Punisher's name doesn't appear in the special agent's breakdown of the freak-off events. But Hayes says that he never saw a camera in that room and never suspected his choreographed sex with Diddy's girlfriend was being filmed. Sharay Hayes is going to join me live in just a moment, but first, I want to give you a reminder of how Cassie Ventura herself reacted when she discovered that someone other than Diddy and herself may have seen her in those tapes and may in fact be in possession of one of those tapes. On Tuesday, Diddy's defense team played an audio clip of Cassie unloading on a DJ and threatening his life because he claimed he had a video of Cassie that was definitely not safe for work, shall we say? Perhaps the strategy of the defense team in playing this audio tape of Cassie getting tough, was to portray Cassie in an unflattering light as somebody who had the propensity for violence herself, not this, poor withering victim. And I got to be honest with you folks, because there's no cameras in the courtroom for federal cases, don't get me started, I don't think justice was served here. I don't think you and I were given the full dope on this. Because reading the transcript of Cassie's profanity-laced threats made her sound like serious thug, right? Like a criminal. Like, wow, she sure doesn't sound like that little wallflower that she was professing to be on the stand. But guess what? Now we can actually listen for ourselves. And I would really like it if you would just, with an open mind, listen to what I'm about to play for you. I want you to see if you think you're listening to a young woman ready to actually kill the man that she's threatening, or a young woman who's terrified that he's got sex tapes of her on his laptop and he's not turning them over. Here's the audio.
I'm going to kill you. You don't understand. I don't give a I've never killed anybody in my life, but I will kill you because you're with me. You're with me in my life right now. If I saw a video of you doing anything that you didn't want people to see, I would show you the video so you could tell me what the happened. You're playing games with me, telling me you saw some now you're saying you didn't see some you're with me. I'm going to you up. I don't think you understand. And it's not going to be my hands, and it's not going to be blood on my hands. Someone else is going to do it.
And it went on from there. A lot of the same stuff. Whether Diddy or his staff shot videos of those freak-offs, it is pretty damn clear they didn't want anybody else to be filming. But another guy named Jonathan Addy, one of 13 escorts that Cassie claims she was forced to have sex with over the years, Jonathan Addy told this program exclusively that he secretly recorded a freak-off himself as the escort, that he went ahead and did it anyway. He said for his own protection. Have a listen.
No. filmed it. It had everything described, and it had her threatening me. But he was telling her what to say. We had an argument. When I left, I knew they were paranoid. So I wanted to guarantee my safety. So I texted him. I said, "Hey, if anything happens to me, I got evidence I'm being with you."
And Jonathan Odie says to keep that recording under wraps, Diddy had him sign a non-disclosure agreement, an NDA, in exchange for $5 million in hush money. And that brings me back to the Punisher, who wonders whether he unknowingly sold his name and his reputation for life for $800 in that hotel room. And what, if anything, he might be able to do about that now. Sharay the Punisher Hayes, welcome back to the program. So this is quite a turn of events we didn't expect. We had spoken with you a couple weeks ago, figured that your part in the trial had played out, and then suddenly you find out something new. Just tell me how you learned that you might be one of the people in the tapes that jury was watching.
Literally, I've known less than 24 hours. I got a random call from another news outlet that I did a previous interview with, and they just like, "Hey, we want to do a follow up with you." And then it was just kind of sprung on me, like, how do you feel that you're possibly been shown in the videotapes in the trial? And I'm still kind of in disbelief. It's there's that saying of when it rains, it pours, and the last couple of weeks, starting with your program, I've been trying to create a different narrative. The association to the situation is already a black eye and then pretty ugly. And I've been doing my best to do some sort of damage control to kind of circumvent the bad decision that I made all those years ago. But now to understand.
Well, let me ask you about that. Sure. Yeah, I know that you feel, and you've said it before on this show, that you made a bad decision getting into that circumstance in the free cough, being paid for the sex in the hotel room. But did you ever think for a minute that there was filming going on? Did you see any cameras? Was that discussed?
No, actually nothing at all. And actually it was the extreme opposite of it, because my phone was confiscated prior to the activities to make sure there was no recordings or anything going on. So that actually made me feel secure in the moment, because I thought precautions was taken to protect everyone's privacy. So I'm really kind of blown away at this possibility that there could be a video of me circulating. And I know it's supposed to be evidence, right? But somehow these things have a way of ending up in the public. So I'm just hoping there's just not another layer of damage control that I'm faced with.
I know that you, it's all new. I think you mentioned at the top here that it's only been about 24 hours since you even found out about this. Do you have a liaison who worked with you to bring you into the federal courthouse to go up on the stand and testify for the government that you can now reach out to and ask, is that me on the tape that you played for the jury?
My only recourse to getting information would be the attorney that was appointed to me by the prosecution. So I do plan on emailing him early tomorrow and hopefully getting some sort of clarity to the possibility of this tape. I know in none of my preparations and with the prosecution was anything mentioned to me that there was video of me. So this whole scenario just coming out of the blue the way it is just, I'm just utterly shocked.
There might be people watching Sharay who say, but wait a second, he's a sex worker. Why would he be upset about a tape? To be clear, nobody from the prosecutor's office told you that they were going to play a tape, potentially of you, in court to more than 12 people.
No, absolutely not. There was no conversation or indication whatsoever that there was video associated with me and my participation with any of this. So this is all news to me. It's my first time hearing anything like this. I'm also curious. I'm not even sure if the prosecution presented these tapes. where they came from whatsoever. I'm just, I don't know, man. This is, it's already been a lot to manage. So I'm just hoping that this doesn't take on a new challenge for me.
Do you know, Sharay, I mean, we've been listening to multiple different accounts from Cassie and from Jane and from some assistants. And the Freakoffs never followed exactly the same pattern. They were very similar, but some Freakoffs had one escort and some Freakoffs had upwards of 4 and would last for days. Do you know, Sharay, if there were any other escorts the night that you were with Cassie and Diddy?
So that's another thing I was also kind of speculating about. You know, I did show up at 3 a.m. And, you know, who knows if somebody was there prior to me or from what I say, how these things prolonged over long periods of time, if someone was there after me. So all of those things are a possibility. I don't have any concrete knowledge of anybody there before or anybody there after. So I can't speak to the factual account of that, but I'm almost hoping that was the case and maybe it was someone else on the video that just aligned with my timeline.
Sharay, if you do discover, if the prosecutors do divulge to you that it is you on that video and that you were videotaped without your knowledge, you have an expectation of privacy. Are you going to sue? Is that sort of in your vernacular at this point to reach out and sue the person who taped you?
Honestly, at this point, it actually isn't. I have to honestly say I maintain a space of denial, right? I'd rather believe, at this point, I'd rather believe it's not me than deal with what comes with the idea of this. You know, it's such a negative circumstance being associated with this at all. And then it seems like if you are put into a scenario where there's some sort of civil suit or legal action that presents as monetary gain, it just creates a worse light on you, you know. And I'm trying to move away from this dark cloud and try to create a different narrative and the idea of more headlines of, you know, the Punisher files a suit. You know, everybody jumps on that and stuff like that, and then it creates this whole storm of judgment, you know, and negativity. I'm just, you know, at this point, it's just something that I would like to steer away from if possible.
I can understand that. Let me do this for you because I know you have turned your life in a different direction. You released a book. It's called In Search of Freezer Meat. It actually came up in testimony. It was subpoenaed by the government, and so maybe that's a positive in all of this. At least some promotion for the work that you've put to paper. A little bit of extra sales on the book. Sharay, let us know what you find out. If you discover anything in this very bizarre turn of events, give us a call. Come back on.
Absolutely. I sure will. Thank you, Ashleigh.
I really appreciate it. Thank you, Sharay. And again, I want to thank you for being an honest witness. And I mean, this is civic duty when you get up there in front of everybody and you know, bare your soul, and that's what Sharay did. I now want to turn to defense attorney and former prosecutor Mark Eiglarsh. Mark, this was something that I just sort of gave my head a shake for a moment, and I thought, where do we stand on this? This is a man who, yes, may have been performing illegal sex in a hotel room, but he has an expectation of privacy, and if someone filmed him without his knowledge, that person's in trouble. Am I wrong?
Yes, but not really. Come on, Ashleigh. You know, yes, technically you argue he has a reasonable expectation of privacy. He didn't give him consent. Okay, so what next? How did that hurt him? Now, I'm shocked at how he feels like this violated him, but I don't think any jury in this universe will find that this does anything other than enhance the business that he's in. I'm not into freak-offs. I'm happily married 25 years, but if I was, I'd want a guy named the Punisher there, and I think most people feel that way.
Well, I'll only say this. I feel that he does actually feel hurt by this. He may have performed a sex act in private, but he wasn't signing up for a movie. And by the way, he's also a dancer, and this was sort of a one-off. And so, in a way, can you not say, look, a long time ago we said prostitutes couldn't be raped. Now we know better. Can you not also say that a dancer has the right to have a private sex event and not end up leaked to the public potentially?
Yes, but you can't plausibly analogize a rape victim who happens to be a prostitute in this scenario because it's just guilty or not on raping the prostitute. In this case, the civil arena, it's designed to pay you for your loss. What did he lose? If it's even him, by the way, we don't know that it's even him on the video, but let's just say it is. What, 12 jurors and some alternates saw him engaging in sex? How does that harm him? The public hasn't seen it.
Yet. Well, yet. I only say that because lots of stuff does end up leaking. Just watch Dateline with the Idaho case. Holy cow. I do want to say this. Like, I always feel as though if you're a government witness, the government should take care of you in some way. Can Sharay compel the government to let him know if it's him on those tapes so that he can at least gird for the potential of leaked evidence in the future and maybe take action if he's got pain and suffering?
No. 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 Government doesn't have to tell him anything. In fact, they have qualified immunity, so if he gets a lawyer who's willing to sue, we'll go after the government. Good luck. They'll tell him right away, you're not going to get a nickel from him. Boy, I've wanted to sue some prosecutors in my day. So there'll be nothing there, and they don't have to tell him anything. I believe they should. I believe they should be more compassionate to witnesses and potential victims. They don't do the best job. For the most part, they do. In this instance, I think they fell short.
I think that's where we agree. I just felt like compassion has been lacking in this. I like this Sharay. I think he's a genuine, honest guy. He didn't ask for any of this. He did his job. He got up there. He swore an oath, and he put himself out there, and, that's horrendous. And the poor guy says everything's been awful since. He doesn't even really want to see what he said.
Ashleigh,
but, yeah.
Ashleigh,
You're not going to be compassionate now, are you?
I'm not, because I think he needs a better PR person and turn this into a positive. He could collect. He's the Punisher, for Christ's sakes. Come on. I want him dancing at a party. Come on, Ashleigh.
Dancing, yes. I think he'd agree with that. Mark, I always love talking to you. Thanks for this. I appreciate it.
Same here.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.